Yo, 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 what up? Welcome in. Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. I'm Colter Nuanez, as always, coming to you from the Northwest Motorsport Studio. Northwest Motorsport, new to Missoula, new to Montana. They're located at the corner of Stevens and Mount. You can also find them online at nwmsrocks.com. That's nwmsrocks.com. Ton to get to in the show today. We're actually going to switch up the order here a little bit. We had initially planned to have Chris Chidovitsky, who we talked to earlier this morning. Myself and Andrew Houghton both did, the head coach for the Grizz soccer team, as they make their way to the NCAA tournament. But because of timing, we're actually going to get to Chris Chidovitsky a little bit later on, probably about 4:45. We'll hear from Chris Chidovitsky. Instead, we're going to get things kicked off with our good friend Carolyn, the chick who doesn't know sports. About 4:30, we got a River City Runners segment. We're featuring a couple state champions, Tanner Klumpf and Kenzie May. Klumpf is of Missoula Sentinel, Kenzie May of Missoula Hellgate, and they will join us simultaneously, although Klumpf, he'll be in studio, and Kenzie May, she's on her way to a regional race, so she'll join us via the Rankish Brothers RV phone line. Top of the hour, going to hear from Nate Michael. He's a local volleyball coach here in town, and a guy that knows a lot about volleyball. It is the all-class volleyball tournament in Bozeman today, so he's been monitoring the action. So we'll talk some broad questions about volleyball, some theory, strategy, program building, but also give you an update on one of the best prep state tournaments in all the state of Montana. You want to listen or watch the show somewhere other than your traditional radio or television, go to our station website, 1029ESPN.com. Click on Listen Live, or you can go to YouTube. Nuanez will get you there. And if you want to be a part of this show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. You're going to want to remember that number because we had all sorts of free stuff for you, including pretty soon here, some tickets to the Lady Grizz versus Gonzaga basketball game on Sunday afternoon. We also got some vouchers to the AC Hotel. So call or text us, 406-888-1029, particularly when I tell you, but anytime.
Now processing that in the 90s, we were just like slamming milk. We were just like pouring big old glasses of milk and just chugging it. Like lots of milk, just like straight up, just plain old white milk. We would just drink it. I'm just now processing that in the 90s, we were just like slamming milk.
I have a bone to pick. That has nothing to do with milk because it's not the 90s anymore, and I'm still slamming glasses of milk. I just had a peanut butter English muffin and some cheese. And
I bet you'd love a glass of milk
all
right
I
now.
want is a glass of milk. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. Why do we have to ruin all the good things? I'm the one that loves pointing out the ruination of good things. How do we get on the milk? This is like one of the weirdest things ever. Why do we have to ruin the milk?
Well, no one's ruining the milk. It was just funny when we were talking about the AC Hotel breakfast that you were so excited about having a glass of papaya juice and a glass of milk.
Yeah, I know. I get it. But also, like, there's a lot of scrutiny that rains down on people that drink milk these days.
Well, milk is good for you. Milk is good.
They say, actually, in fact, not good for you now. And they say it's terrible for you.
Who's they?
Health experts.
They lie.
They say it's akin to drinking pus.
They also say red wine's bad for you. We don't listen to them.
Well, my point of contention has nothing to do with the milk.
Okay.
It has to do with the fact that you guys ruined my life. I can't believe that I let all these women that I work with talk me into getting back on Instagram. This is the most crazy. You guys, this is warping everybody's brains.
Says the guy who has sent me more Instagram.
I know. This is what I'm saying. It's the world's greatest drug. You can go from the milk guy to some anxiety video to somebody popping pimples to some girl wearing a thong. Then all of a sudden there's a sports highlight. All of a sudden, I don't even know. There's text message shots of dating advice, and then there's recipes. And no wonder you guys are on this thing for 5 hours a day.
Don't go on TikTok then.
I'm not.
It'll ruin you.
I think I've already been ruined. I think I have to go away from this.
Do what you got to do.
Well, the double-edged sword of all of it. We were really trying to. I understand that the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if I think Instagram is rotting all of our brains. You guys are all letting it rot your brains anyways. So,
excuse me, I am sharp as a tack.
So, I do understand the validity of it. It is a great promotional tool. The stimulation is profound. I would suggest to people mitigate your use, but of course, follow us, ESPN Missoula, on Instagram.
Wow. That was
It's
very
part of our fall
confusing.
giveaway. I don't know. It's like one of my favorite coaches says, you can hate the state of society all you want. It ain't changing. So you might as well live in it.
That's a good point.
It ain't changing.
Yeah.
It's like that's where I've seen so many coaches in the sports world get passed by. They bemoan kids and how they are. Mm-hmm. All they want to do is play Fortnite on Twitter. Okay. Well, you can sit there and complain about it forever. It ain't changing.
Right.
You can't change them, so you might as well embrace it. It is a chick who doesn't know sports. Or maybe this week's Sign of the Apocalypse. We're weighing our name.
Oh, weren't we going to do an Instagram poll about that?
Let's go. 406-888-1029 if you want to tell us what we should call this. Or you can follow us on Instagram. Make a little comment. ESPN Missoula. Should we change the name? It could still be this week's Sign of the Apocalypse with the chick who doesn't know sports. That's pretty good. Either way, what's up, Carolyn? How you living?
I'm living.
Did you have any milk this morning?
I didn't have any milk this morning.
Do you drink milk?
I do. You know what my favorite snack in the world is?
What's that?
Is a glass of milk and 2 graham crackers.
Wow, that's a good
And then you
snack.
dip the graham crackers in.
Wow.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Do you remember the graham crackers? There used to be like the dinosaur graham crackers, like dino cookies that are like made out of graham crackers.
Listen, in my day, we just had straight up graham crackers. We didn't have fancy dinosaur.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember my next door neighbor when I was like 5, when I was living in Ely, Nevada. She used to have the
I never had
dinosaur
those.
cookies, and I
I
just
don't
thought
even
they were
think
great.
my mom wouldn't even buy Teddy Grahams.
No, but yeah, my mom was not buying any cookies. That's why I like
Yeah.
going to my neighbor's house to
Right.
get some cookies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teddy Grahams were a little too fancy, and I think I aged out of them. You know what I mean? Like my mom's like, "What are you, 7?" So I got like when I babysat kids, I'd get a Teddy Graham or 2.
Okay, well, what else you got? The wide world of sports is crazy. I got a lot of things to ask you about, but first, we'll start with you.
Well, you know how much I love a scandal. And I probably imagine that you've spoken about Aaron Rodgers ad nauseum this week.
We have, as we always do, though, we address it from a first impact on the field of competition. And then secondly, we talked pretty extensively on Tuesday with Justin Angle from the University of Montana Business School from purely a marketing and branding standpoint. Mm-hmm. How is he affecting his own brand, basically? Right. We have not taken it down the
what does Carolyn think?
Sociological and or political versions of this conversation. So let her rip.
Well, I guess I just want to address one thing, and that is when he said, when he made his apology, and I'm using air quotes, his apology, it's a very Real Housewives apology, which is...
Wasn't that what he is?
Yeah, well...
He is ETV. Wow, you just defined it for me. I'm using that forever now.
You're welcome.
He's in ETV and he went to Cal. That's Aaron Rodgers. He is a Berkeley e-television show. Wow. Thank you for clarifying my whole life.
He and his estranged brother can have their own reality
they don't like each other?
No.
Why? Because they're the same?
His brother that married the Bachelorette?
Right.
Yeah, no, they're estranged.
They love similar levels of drama, so they can't handle each other?
Yeah.
These guys. See, this is why fighting should still be socially acceptable. Anyways, carry on.
So he gave a non-apology apology.
Okay.
He lied. Now, is it... So the rule in the NFL is if you're not vaccinated, you have to wear masks, and you can't socialize. You go into those social events, right?
Right.
So then he lied.
Yes.
And he was at a Halloween party with another guy, and they both got COVID, right?
I guess that's true. Is that like defined that he got it at this certain place?
I don't know, but let's just assume you're at a super spreader
regardless.
event.
Oh God. Okay. We're already treading water here. Okay, keep going.
I just wanted to say that if you're going to apologize correctly.
Did he even try to apologize?
He said, "I'm sorry if you were misled." That is not an apology.
Right, because he's not sorry.
Right. And then he went on some show and said he's not an activist. He's an athlete.
Right.
Which I am fine with that, but he was doing a lot, I think, in the Black Lives Matter. You know, like he's kind of I don't know.
Yeah. Well, oh man.
He's an activist when it's convenient for him, maybe. And I don't care.
But it's convenient to his endorsements and his bottom line. Right. This is a bloody hornet's nest for sure. But unfortunately, and I can say this only because we've talked about it on this show already, because Justin Angle and I analyzed this a couple weeks ago. The rise of quote-unquote woke marketing is pretty amazing to me. In other words, you attach yourself to some sort of social cause
Yeah.
in the name of endorsement,
Right.
not the name of belief.
100%.
Aaron Rodgers did that. I think a lot of people did. Regardless, carry on.
Well, it's kind of funny because his fiance is a pretty big activist of a lot of things.
Aaron Rodgers is engaged?
Yeah, to Shailene Woodley.
Who's that?
She was from Big Little Lies. Isn't that funny? Isn't that karmic?
What's that? What's
So,
Big
oh
Little
my God,
Lies?
it's such a good show. It's on HBO. Just Google
Okay.
it.
Okay.
She's
This
an
sounds
actress.
right up my alley.
It's-
Just what I
yeah.
want to watch. Big Little Lies.
Yeah. Well, you won't even watch Squid Game,
I
so.
won't even watch anything. I'm not going to watch anything ever
here's
again.
what I'm going to propose to. Not
Okay.
only are we going to rename maybe the show,
This segment, you
this
mean?
segment, not the show. Yeah. The Carolyn show.
Maybe we should just name the show.
Sorry, I meant
This
the
week's
segment.
Side of the Apocalypse. Maybe that should be the name of Nuanez now.
No.
Very
This
applicable to
segment-
most of the themes of our
But I like
conversations.
inside the segment, I think what I'm going to do is start a douche report.
Oh, God. I don't even know if we can say this.
Oh, we can.
Okay.
And
Aaron
this
Rodgers
week's
is the first.
or the biggest douche award,
Okay.
and it goes to Aaron Rodgers this week.
Okay.
I think this is going to work, guys. What do you think?
I don't know. This
Text
might,
in.
We would 888-1029-406-888-1029. Text us. Let us know. Okay, so is he the winner? He's the biggest. He's the biggest. We need to find a different word than
Why?
this. I just don't know if
It's
this is
just
acceptable.
a word.
It
it's
is
not like
sort
the
of.
F word.
You're right. I don't
Okay.
know.
I think the D-bag award. Can we say D-bag?
Sure.
Okay. Coulter's so red right now.
Oh man. Okay.
All right. This week's D-bag award goes to Aaron Rodgers for the
Okay.
second week in a row.
How often is this going to be? We should just call it the Tom or Aaron Award, right?
No,
It's one or the other.
Listen. There's lots of room out there, I think. So
What are you going to do when Aaron Rodgers starts taking the same medicine Tom Brady's been taking?
I'm going to pull a Tanya Harding.
Oh boy!
I'm just kidding. I don't care that much. That was really for my segue.
Okay,
to
check
my
your
next
doesn't know
story.
sports, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. What are you doing this weekend? Would you like to go watch a nationally renowned basketball program at the Adams Center? This is actually pretty cool. Gonzaga is coming to Missoula to play the Lady Grizz.
That's going to be a good game.
We got 4 tickets. So give us a call right now, 406-888-1029. It's a matinee, 2 p.m., Sunday at the Adams Center. We got 4 tickets to the Lady Grizz versus the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Call right now, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Caller number 2, we got 4 tickets. Lady Grizz basketball versus Gonzaga Sunday afternoon at the Adams Center. What else you got?
All right. So I was trying to segue and you rudely interrupted.
Sorry, I'm just trying to give people the free stuff. I'm mostly just trying to derail you from your potty mouth.
Okay. So speaking of Tanya Harding, a Paris Saint-Germain midfielder, female soccer player. Her
Okay.
name's, I can't even pronounce her name.
Okay.
She basically hired someone
Yep.
to beat the heck out of one of her teammates so she could get more playtime. So, according to the New York Times,
This is very Tanya Harding-esque.
yeah, her teammate was pulled from a car, beaten on her legs with metal bars.
This is quintessential Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan.
She did not have any broken bones, but they traced it all back to this teammate of hers.
So
And
who on earth thinks they can get away with things like this in 2021?
not only that, but how could you do that? That is horrible.
Right. It's so horrible.
I mean, what is wrong with you? So she's in jail.
She's in jail.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think she's in some big trouble. She's
Wow.
definitely not going to be getting any playtime.
Playing time. Okay.
So there's that.
Okay.
Yep. So that happened. How do you feel about that?
I think that's a very depraved way to try to earn playing time. I think
Yeah.
if you can't earn playing time, you should just try harder or accept that you're not going to play.
Kiss up to the coach. Hello.
Yeah, right. It's pro sports. I mean, the best players play, period. There's not a lot of politics involved in it besides how good are you. That's all.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Okay. Good talk.
Maybe she's been, at least maybe she's been drinking her milk. Hopefully her bones were
I
strong.
think the girl who she was beating was drinking her milk.
That's what I mean.
She didn't break any bones.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. See, milk is what was this? The old.
I don't know.
Milk is good food or
Do
something.
you remember that we used to live in a society where basic farmed goods were promoted on a national level by the federal USDA?
Yeah. The milk. They used to have great milk ads.
Once upon a time, they convinced us butter was bad.
Eggs.
Yep.
Eggs were bad.
See, this is
Now
why,
eggs are good.
This is why I trust no one.
Yes, clearly.
Because this was all part of the industrialization of America plan.
Oh my God.
They had to make sure that the corn industry was steady as to not have fluctuations within that industry, else it would crater the role of national agriculture.
Well, I'll appreciate that because my grandfather was the president of Corn Products.
Wow.
And
so he is the one that ruined all of us.
I'm sure he was behind his desk, with an evil laugh saying, "Let's make milk the enemy."
Yes, because they needed to have all that corn syrup
Yeah.
and all that ethanol.
Hey, man.
Have you ever read The Omnivore's Dilemma?
Come on.
You should.
You think I'm going to read that? You know what I'm reading right now?
The script for Yellowstone.
I wish. I am reading a book about the housewives. So if you
my
think I'm going to
God.
read about the omnivore's
Wait, so
dilemma,
you sit here and watch whatever it is, TMZ, and read about the people on it
I don't
at the
watch
same time?
TMZ. I watch Bravo with the Real Housewives.
Oh my God.
And then I'm reading a book. It's behind the scenes. It is very interesting.
How do we become like this?
Zip it.
I just don't understand.
Listen, there is enough ickiness out there.
Right,
If
I know.
want to escape with these crazy women and watch them fight and wear crazy clothes and drink too much, I am going to do it, and no one is going to stop
Most
me.
of the people listening to this show want to escape with these women too, but in a completely different form.
Listen, you guys do what you got to do. I don't care. I need an escape. I do not need to be reading the sick headlines that I'm reading on a daily basis. So I'm going to go into Bravo land and just ignore it all.
Isn't it all part of the same equation, though? The people giving you the scary headlines are also the people giving you the trash TV. It's all meant to muddle your brain.
Oh my God, would you lighten up?
I'm just kidding,
Good
but I'm
Lord.
not. Check it out, No Sports, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, our friend Carolyn in studio. What else?
All right, so. Sorry, I lost my thing.
Scrolling on a cell phone.
No, I'm looking for my story. All right. Vanessa Bryant,
Kobe Bryant's widow.
yes,
Yep.
submitted documents on November 5th to secure trademarks to enter the wine business.
Okay.
So, Mamba Vino 2024, Mamba Vino 8, Mamba Vino 24 are among the phrases listed.
Okay.
She has also filed trademark for all sorts of collectible items, websites, training camps, broadcasting platforms, et cetera, et cetera. How do you feel about this?
I mean, I don't know. Isn't everybody getting into wine or tequila or something? It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I
It's
just
all good. What do you think? It's exploitative?
kind of. I guess I just feel like, listen, I'm not even going to begin to try and understand the grief that she's going through. But I feel like when she was doing sort of more the charity type things and the foundations, that more aligned with Kobe's legacy.
Sure.
I don't know if wine, unless she's just trying to get ahead of it so no one else can take it, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe her passion is wine. It's a lot easier to market Kobe than it is Vanessa.
True. I guess so. I don't know.
You have to also wonder if she's going in with LeBron.
Why is he getting
LeBron's very into wine, yeah. LeBron was actually potentially busted drinking wine on the bench because he's hurt.
Oh, LeBron, I love him.
I don't know, man.
No,
If that's actually happening, that's going to be a pretty messy situation.
No, you shouldn't be drinking
You
wine
can't
on the
drink at your job.
No. What? You can't?
I mean,
Ruh-roh.
hey, guilty as charged, but I'm just kidding. No, I don't know what the details are. I just heard that on a podcast this morning when I was working out, actually.
I cannot see LeBron drinking wine someone's sabotaging him.
Yeah.
It was probably some grape juice or
Maybe.
Gatorade.
Maybe.
I cannot see LeBron James like, I think I'll just pour myself a nice cab while I'm sitting here.
Well, I do find this interesting because the world of endorsements, the world of branding and all that. If you slap a famous athlete's name on pretty much anything, it can up the perceived quality of it. The one thing I find fascinating is the people that have made a ton of money in alcohol, whether it's beer, wine, or liquor. It only happens because of the quality of the product. I think that's why it's one of the most pure industries around. You can make this wine with Mamba on it or whatever, and you can make a little bit of money on it. But if it's not good, it's not good, and people are not going to buy it. Like if you make a bottle that should be $15 and you charge $50 because of the brand, people won't buy it.
No.
They won't at all.
No.
Because people that drink want the quality. That's why George Clooney's tequila thing is so fascinating, because he not only made a tequila company with his great marketing and his face on it, but it's also delicious.
And affordable.
Whereas Michael Jordan's is...
Right.
I don't know if it's delicious or not, but it's not affordable. And so Casamigos is just kicking Jordan's tequila's butt.
Well, and that Kendall Jenner tried to do one, and hers are like $100 and something a bottle.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't like tequila, so, I had a few bad hangovers from it in my late teens in Mexico. But just a few barfing sessions. No big deal.
Jeez. We're just on fire today.
What?
What else you got?
Why are you so uptight?
I'm not.
Okay. All right, moving on.
If you had some milk, it would have cured your hangover.
Ooh, no. You know what the ultimate hangover cure is? I'll tell you right now.
What's that?
A Big Mac and a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, boy.
Now, I won't drink a real Dr. Pepper because of all the calories, so I'll eat my Big Mac with a Diet Coke. It helps.
Just in the morning, crushing Big Macs.
Oh, my God. If that's the thing that
Can
drives
you
me
even
nuts.
get Big Macs in the mornings?
No. And that is my biggest problem with McDonald's. They made their breakfast all day long, but if you need a Big Mac at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. before work, you can't get one. So I think we should all write letters.
I'm sure that they'll be incredibly well received. Okay, what else you got?
Okay. So do you know who the Texas coach, we talked about a University of Texas coach last week. We got another one this week in trouble. But this one I don't feel like is that bad. It's Bo Davis. Okay. And I guess Texas was beaten pretty bad sorry, I can't talk. They lost 30-7 to Iowa State last week.
They did?
Yeah. And apparently this guy, someone in the locker room recorded him screaming at the guys. Okay. Swears, all this stuff, bad words. As far as I know, nothing really bad, like some bad words, but not necessarily anything like that one guy with his email.
Yeah.
But people are freaking out about it. And
people forget about everything now, right?
I feel like that's what coaches do if they lose. They yell at their players. Like, am I wrong to think that?
I think that there's actually a mass variety of how coaches operate. I think people will be surprised how many different ways there are to operate. Mm-hmm. Just in the Big Sky Conference, there's some coaches that straight up do not talk to their team after games, period. There's not even a meeting.
Even if you're
like the road team, we got to get on the bus as fast as we can. We got to get out of Dodge. We'll talk about it later. We got 6 hours on the bus. We'll talk about it. Other coaches do the whole breakdown right there. Some there's like intermittent versions of that. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I don't know.
I guess personally, I don't think that's a great coaching style, like yelling at your team, and I'm not for it, but I don't think it's a fireable offense if you scream at your team, especially when they played so bad.
Right.
I think I always thought it was kind of common.
Well, and there's a lot of pressure at Texas right now, too, because they're not doing very great.
They're distracted by the pole assassin.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what I mean?
I talked to our good friend, Jeff Choate, former Montana State head coach and current defensive coordinator at Texas, doing a series of stories, SkylineSportsMT.com, on some seniors for the Bobcats. And, of course, Choate recruited all those guys, so I wanted his perspective. So after interviewing him for about 25 minutes, then we get done with the interview, and he says, well, don't you want to know about Monkeygate? And I can't share most of what he said on the radio. That'd be unfair to him. But the point of the story is that the vast majority of the kids that they're recruiting to Texas are from Texas and the surrounding area. The vast majority of people in that area are very religious. Mm-hmm. Let's just say the Texas moms of high school recruits that potentially could go to the University of Texas are not very impressed about the phrase pole assassin.
Yeah, I'm not either. And I'm pretty chill.
Joe's like, what am I supposed to say when the mom's like, what is a pole assassin? He's like, well, I guess, you're going to Google it and find out, so we're not going to get your son. I get it. You wouldn't let your kid go to play for coaches like that, right? Or would you?
I don't know. I guess it would depend on the scholarship.
If your
get a
kid,
full ride.
if one of your boys got a full ride and the guy recruiting him was married to a notorious stripper, would you let them go?
Yeah, probably.
Wow. Laissez-faire. Freedom in America. 2021.
I think it's gross I think it's gross, but if there's a great opportunity for my kids to go do something amazing and one of the coaches is a dirtbag.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'd be okay with it.
Okay.
Let's cross that bridge when it comes. Like in 4 years, let's talk about it.
Jacob Doesn't Know Sports, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. What else you got?
All right. This is in honor of how offended you seem to be by this show today.
I'm not offended at all.
You seem like you are. Eli Manning got in some trouble on Monday Night Football because he did the double bird on TV.
Oh, they already had Marshawn Lynch dropping the F-bomb, too. That was funny.
So guess how many people wrote in to the FCC to complain?
100 million.
3.
Wow.
That's it. Guess how many people wrote into the FCC during the Super Bowl when Jennifer Lopez and Shakira were dancing?
100 million.
1,300.
Wow.
Because they were dancing too sexy.
Provocative.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I wonder how many wrote in after Janet Jackson's situation.
I wonder, too.
But no one's taking any action against Eli Manning, FYI.
That's good. Soon we're going to live in a world where there's no such thing as FCC regulations. Won't that be great?
It's funny. I was just talking about that with my youngest son because we were talking about certain songs and how some words are on the radio and some aren't.
Sure.
And I was explaining to him the FCC and why certain words are not allowed on the radio. And he was convinced he'd heard some bad words on the radio. And I was like, I don't think so. But I remember when My Prerogative came out with Bobby Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And he sings, and I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
They said damn on the radio.
Oh, my God.
And look at me saying douchebag. So here we are, full circle.
Okay, what else you got? Anything else?
We have a giveaway.
That's right. We actually went to the AC Hotel
We did.
the other day. I got the avocado toast, a little spicy.
good.
It was good.
And then that one with the prosciutto and the arugula and avocado, so good.
Yep, very good.
They have a great breakfast. I think right now the buffet is put away, but you can get anything you want from the buffet. They just are trying to eliminate food waste, which is great.
It is great. Very good for them. We got vouchers for you, AC Hotel, for some mimosas, Bloody Marys, and some brunch. Call us right now, 406-888-1029. That's 406-888-1029. Caller number 3, got a pair of vouchers for you to the AC Hotel. Last thing for you. Have you been following Kyrie Irving?
No, who's that?
Kyrie Irving. Who's that? Kyrie Irving is a superstar basketball player, plays for the Brooklyn Nets, who has not been vaccinated. Because of that, he's then not allowed to participate in the NBA because of local regulations, being in Brooklyn. But there's a brewing controversy because he may and likely will be voted into the All-Star game, which then means he could then go play in the All-Star game because it's outside of the organization. And so it's just going to be quite a controversy.
And what do you think? Do you think he should be able to play in the All-Star game?
I will plead the fifth on this one. I think that the All-Star game voting has been rigged for quite some time. So I think they should just rig it again and make sure he doesn't make it.
Okay.
And just avoid the controversy.
Yeah. Why are we avoiding
Only
the controversy?
because he does not deserve to be voted into the All-Star game when he hasn't played.
He hasn't played all season.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's silly.
I agree.
So regardless of the controversy, that's just silly. He should just not be voted in the All-Star game.
Well, why isn't he being whatever it's called, like disqualified?
Because they don't do that because they want fans to think that they vote these guys in.
They can still vote people that qualify in.
Right.
They can disqualify him. Does everyone need me on staff to make things normal? Like, I don't understand why. This is also, to me, a ploy to get people to vote in the All-Star game and watch the All-Star game, obviously.
Yep.
All right, well, we'll see what happens.
Ben Simmons still hasn't showed up to work yet either.
I can't. even begin to tell you how annoying he is. Now, is he getting fined every time he doesn't show up? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What an idiot.
Can you imagine us losing, I think his last fine was $700,000. It's just so ridiculous.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I would show up and work for 7 consecutive days with no sleep if you gave me $70,000. I might work for 30,000 straight days.
30,000 straight days?
I mean, as many days as it took until I died. For $700,000, that's like the most. That's like the cumulative income I'm going to make in my entire life.
Right. Yeah, this guy is an idiot, and I hope that someone is donating that money somewhere. That should be like my bank account.
There's no way that they're donating the money anywhere.
I hate them. Right. I hate him. That makes me so mad. See, now he should win the D-Bag Award. Next week, I'm going to have a long list.
Can't wait. Chicker Doesn't Know Sports here on Nuanez Now.
I'm just now processing that in the 90s, we were just slamming milk. We were just pouring big old glasses of milk and just chugging it. Lots of milk, just straight up, just plain old white milk. We would just drink it.
That's all you need. Some plain old white milk. Thanks to Carolyn getting her Thursday kicked off. Always towing the line of offensive and comedic all at the same time. That's why she's the greatest. ESPN Radio, SWX Montana TV. I'm Colter Nuanez. This is Nuanez Now. Our River City Runners featuring a couple state champions. Up next, Kenzie May from Missoula Hellgate, Tanner Klumpf from Missoula Sentinel. Keep it right here, ESPN Radio.
Spending more time doing laundry than you think you should? Then see the great selection of laundry sets at Fred's Black Friday sale.
Fred's Black Friday sale is on now. Save on laundry sets, ranges, refrigerators, dishwashers, and more at this sale.
Choose from a variety of LG front load or top load laundry sets marked down for Black Friday.
See the best selection of laundry sets anywhere with one stop at Fred's Appliance.
LG front load and top load laundry sets are loaded with features. Many high efficiency laundry sets are Wi-Fi enabled, so you can start and stop your laundry on the go.
LG is the industry leader in customer satisfaction when it comes to laundry. Steam in both the washer and dryer are on many models.
If you're looking for a top load or front load laundry set, Fred's carries all the top brands and latest models.
Need to replace an appliance but low on cash? No problem. Pay no interest if paid in full in 12 months.
Fred's Appliance, 93 South, 5 minutes south of Brooks and Reserve.
Save on all major appliances at Fred's Black Friday sale.
Why build a work history at a job when you can build a future in your own business? Westpac Wealth Partners is looking for entrepreneurial-minded people who are ready to take their future into their own hands. Nick Tabor and his associates provide clients with financial tools and tested solutions for navigating this complex financial climate. Westpac Wealth also has a work culture that has been recognized as a best workplace in Fortune magazine. If you're ready to start building a business in a long-term career, apply at westpacwealth.com. Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. Insurance products offered through Westpac Wealth Partners and Insurance Services, LLC, a DBA of Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC. Paul Ryan is a name that's been synonymous with law around the Garden City for decades. And Paul is excited to announce the expansion of his firm to Ryan, Holloway, and Miller. Paul Ryan, Nate Holloway, and Angie Miller have a fierce love for their community, and they want to help you with any of your legal needs. From auto accidents to medical malpractice to wrongful death or any criminal defense, Ryan, Holloway, and Miller should be your first call. When it comes to personal injury or criminal defense, call Ryan, Holloway, and Miller today. Ryan, Holloway, and Miller, your Montana attorneys.
Hi, Coral here from The Stone. Weekends are made for brunching, and that's just what we do. Come into The Stone for our famous brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Enjoy one of our classic breakfasts, tasty omelets, savory egg benedicts, or sweet huckleberry pancakes, plus so much more. Top it off with the best mimosas and Bloody Marys in town. So come by the Stone of Accord before you hit the Grizz game, or just to start your weekend off right. Stone of Accord, just a stone's throw away on North Reserve.
The rush of ripping a new pack of trading cards is hard to match. If you want to recapture the nostalgia of your youth, invest money in a worthwhile hobby, or find a healthy activity for your kids, come check out Zootown Sports Cards. Open from noon until 6, Tuesday through Friday, and on Saturday from 10 to 6, Missoula's premier sports trading card shop carries all the products you need to start or bolster your collection. Located at 102 South Avenue East, across from Doran Blazer Field, Zootown Sports Cards, where the rush of the rip is real. Missoula's premier sports trading card shop.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Several college football standouts from around the Big Sky Conference earned their way onto national watch lists earlier this week, including one each from the Montana Grizzlies and the Montana State Bobcats. Hello, I am Coulter Nuanez. Wednesday, Stats Perform expanded its watch lists for the Walter Payton and Buck Buchanan Awards given to the National Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year, respectively. Montana junior linebacker Patrick O'Connell landed on the Buchanan watch list, while MSU running back Isaiah Fonse landed on the Payton watch list. O'Connell, a 6'2", 230-pounder out of Kalispell, leads the Big Sky Conference in total sacks with 10.5. He also ranks in the top 10 in the league with 16.5 tackles for loss and 77 total stops. Afonso, a former Washington Gatorade Player of the Year from Bellevue, currently leads the Big Sky and ranks second in the FCS with 1,124 rushing yards. He has 6 100-yard games this season, giving him 14 in his already decorated career. Afonso and Portland State quarterback Davis Alexander were the 2 additions to the Stats watch list this week. And around the Big Sky Conference, a few coaching moves transpired in recent days. Brian Katz, the second longest tenured head coach in Big Sky Conference men's basketball, announced his retirement, citing health reasons. And Eastern Washington offensive coordinator Ian Shoemaker resigned abruptly, citing personnel reasons, despite EWU averaging more than 50 points and 600 yards of total offense per contest.
This 102.9 ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Aspen Sound.
Yo, what's up, Montana? Welcome back. A little 6-blade knife for you on a Thursday. Hope you're having an outstanding afternoon. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. It's Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television. I'm Coulter Nuanez. It's time now. If you're looking at if you're watching on TV, you see we got cards all over the place. I was in Zootown Sports Cards earlier today. Ran into new Lady Grizz basketball coach Brian Holsinger. So cool seeing him out and about, especially at one of the best places in all of Missoula. It's time now for our River City Runners, presented by Zootown Sports Cards. We'll be giving you a $25 gift card to Zootown Sports Cards here in just a moment. River City Runners, we highlight some of the best runners from around the city of Missoula and around the state of Montana. It just so happens that those two things are the same thing when it comes to the individuals at the most recently completed Class AA meet. So this is fun. Now, we have Tanner Klumpf, Missoula Sentinel, the Class AA Boys Individual Champion, in studio. We also have Kenzie May, Missoula Hellgate, the Individual Girls Champion from Class AA, joining us here on the Regis Brothers RV phone line. She's on her way to a meet, so a lot to get to, including recapping some of those awesome accomplishments. So first of all, congratulations to both of you. Super awesome for there to be a couple individual champions here from the city of Missoula. We'll start with you, Kenzie. Take us through it. I mean, the race was here in town at the University of Montana Golf Course. How did it all play out for you, and what's it like being back-to-back now for you, individual state champion of Class AA?
It was great. I love that course. I think it's a great cross-country course, and it was fun to be able to run it again since the first time I did not compete my best. I think it's also awesome just going back-to-back just because it motivates me even more to accomplish more. So I'm super grateful, and I've had so much fun. So.
And Tanner, I know you were in here just a couple days before the race, so this is fun having you back in studio. But did it play out like you expected? It must have felt pretty good to win this thing on your home course.
Yeah, I mean, the race went kind of how the game plan was set, and I mean, it's a great course to have a meet on. There's really no bad places, and it was great to win it in my hometown, which was awesome.
Hey, Kenzie, tell us, where are you on the way to right now? Because I know you said you were going to a regional meet, but where are you off to? You going to Bozeman?
We are actually headed to Boise, Idaho for Nike Regional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we are only 2 hours away now, so.
Well, very good. I saw yesterday, too, that you made your announcement of where you might be going to school next year. So tell the folks, what's next for Kenzie May after your high school career is over?
Yeah, so I committed to Syracuse. I don't know if you guys know Sage Brooks, but she was an old teammate of mine. She just graduated last year, so she just went to Syracuse, and so I am super excited to be her teammate again. So that was kind of one of the main motivations for going there. But also they just have a really good recruiting class. So but they're expected to definitely be one of the top teams next year for D1 schools. So I'm super excited.
Well, very cool. Congratulations to you. It's our River City Runners presented by Zootown Sports Cards. Tanner Clump, Missoula Sentinel in studio. Kenzie May, Missoula Hellgate on the Ringish Brothers RV phone line. Tanner, you've been making the rounds on the recruiting trail as well. I know you still have one more visit to make, but just take us through it. Where have you made trips to, and how's it been getting recruited by some college programs?
I mean, it's been cool. Been going around. I've been busy the last couple weeks. I got my last one this weekend, and so I've been got it down to 5 schools. So, just figuring it out, trying to find the best fit.
Is there anyone that's a front runner right now?
I mean, not really. Colleges are making it tough on me. So, come next week, it'll be a lot of big decision time. So.
Yeah, totally. Well, Kenzie, I want to ask you this. I know we talked about it a little bit the first time you were on, but now that your at least cross-country portion of your high school career is finished, how has just the community in Missoula influenced you? It just seems like it's not a coincidence that we have a couple state champions from in this city sitting here with us right now. So how do you think just sort of the environment around these parts influenced you as a runner?
I definitely think Missoula is a running community. It is so supportive in different ways. Like, even my coach owns a running store downtown.
Right.
We're all involved in different ways, so I'm super grateful that I have, like, trails to run on and everything. Like, they really focus on physical activity and exercise, and I think running is a more majority of that. And so it just is helpful because you see other runners going along. Like, you see older people getting out, running, and it, like, motivates you to continue. You're like, oh my goodness, I want to be like that person running one day. Like, I want to be 80 years old and I still want to be jogging along on these trails. So that's...
And obviously this has a huge influence on you too. So, I mean, have you considered it? And if so, what has set the stage for you to not only be a state champion, but also have the opportunity to run at the next level as well?
I mean, are you talking to Kim?
No, for you, Tanner,
Yeah, I mean, Missoula is a great community to run in. With Runner's Edge and Run Wild Missoula, they all do a great job putting on good events. And like the treadmill challenge a couple weeks ago, that's an awesome environment. And just running in Missoula can't get any better than this. You got trails everywhere. A lot of people are out. And you don't have a problem finding someone to run with.
Well, I must say, when I first devised this idea for this segment, I thought that we're going to have some pretty successful people on here, but it's been so cool that we've had people from around Missoula and around the state of Montana that have performed at the highest level, including the two that join us now here on Nuanez Now. Tanner Clump from Missoula Sentinel, the Class AA boys individual champion, and Kenzie May from Missoula Hellgate, the girls individual champion. This has been awesome, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, Kenzie, we'll let you go because Tanner and I, we got some trading cards to open up here. But Kenzie, thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck at your meet in Boise.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
There you go, Kenzie May from Missoula Hellgate, and Tanner's still with me, so I'll let you open one of these, huh? This is our Zootown Sports Cards River City Runners, but also do a little rip session here too. And if you call us right now, caller number 2, 888-1029. That's 888-1029. Caller number 2, we got a $25 gift card for you to Zootown Sports Cards. They're located right there across the street from Dornblaser Field at the corner of Higgins and South. And it's an awesome spot, man. I was hanging out down there today. I got some Panini Spectras here. This is not exaggerating, $330 per pack. So these are pretty fancy. Oh, look at this. If you're watching on TV, you can see. Got a little Zion Williamson, little spectacular debut. These are such a hot ticket because they have automatic autographs. Little Dino Raja, for those watching on TV, a little old school Celtics guy. So that's pretty cool. Tanner's having a time over here. It's okay if you can't get it. Let me see if I can help you. It's not the easiest thing in the world. There we go. All right, Tanner's got some of these absolute footballs. So these are pretty cool. Yeah. So that, oh yeah,
DK Metcalf.
We got some big ones over there. Ooh, little DK Metcalf, little jersey card. All right,
Yep.
All right, little.
And then we got some points.
Ooh, nice. See, Tanner's into this, so this is why I knew that he'd be he would enjoy the rip.
Have to hide that one.
Right? If you want to go have yourself a little rip session, head on down to Zootown Sports Cards, right across the street from Dornblazer Field, at the corner of Higgins and South, and they are the proud sponsors of River City Runners. Hour one. Actually, not hour one in the books. We still have one more great guest to get to. Chris Chidovitsky, the head coach for the Grizz women's soccer team, will join us next year on Nuanez Now. Keep it here at ESPN Radio. Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from Nuanez Now. I'm here with Brent Wahlberg of the Wahlberg team at Windermere Real Estate. And Brent, you guys have been the official realtors of Grizz Athletics for quite some time. What most do you like about supporting the Grizz in Missoula?
Born and raised here in Missoula. I grew up 2 blocks off campus. A lot of us Montana kids were growing up on weekends in the fall. You're out in the woods hunting. I was sitting in Dornblazer and then Washington Grizzly Stadium watching the Grizz. I grew up with Grizz in my blood. It's just a wonderful part of our community and happy to be a part of it.
Give the Wahlberg team a call today, 529-4663. Paul Ryan is a name that's been synonymous with law around the Garden City for decades. And Paul is excited to announce the expansion of his firm to Ryan, Holloway, and Miller. Paul Ryan, Nate Holloway, and Angie Miller have a fierce love for their community, and they want to help you with any of your legal needs. From auto accidents to medical malpractice to wrongful death or any criminal defense, Ryan, Holloway, and Miller should be your first call. When it comes to personal injury or criminal defense, call Ryan, Holloway, and Miller today. Ryan, Holloway, and Miller, your Montana attorneys. Colter Nuanez here from your favorite daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. I know most of you are like me. You keep your precious car outside in this frigid Montana weather. If you want to change your outlook on those freezing Monday mornings, do what I did. Get yourself an automatic car starter at Aspen Sound. Aspen Sound will install the starter for you efficiently and keep you warm. Aspen Sound can also hook you up with sweet window tinting or a top-notch sound system for your vehicle. Stop by Aspen Sound at 1300 West Broadway in Missoula today.
Feel the music at Aspen Sound. Open your new Stockman Bank account anytime, anywhere with online account opening. Now, you can open an account in minutes on your laptop, tablet, or mobile phone. It's convenient, simple, and secure. Open your new account today at stockmanbank.com. Then, add our online and mobile banking services so you can manage your money when, where, and how you want. Stockman Bank, Montana's brand of banking. Member FDIC.
Fresh ingredients combined with home-style recipes are what we're serving on the Montana Club's Fall Comfort Food Menu. Warm up with the Osso Buco or hearty chicken fried chicken, or savor our hot in the skillet chicken pot pie. Of course, cool days call for yummy desserts. Cap things off with the club's creamy pumpkin skillet a la mode or skillet apple pie. Visit your Montana Club today. Full menu at montanaclub.com. The Montana Club on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
We're officially in November, which means the holiday shopping season is kicking into high gear. While it may still seem a bit early, if there was ever a time to think ahead, this is it. Bob Ward's has stocked the store and is offering up some big savings early to help you get a head start on your shopping. You'll find amazing deals on gear in skiing, hunting, fishing, camping, golfing, and athletics departments. Plus, save big on footwear and apparel. Bob Ward's, over 100 years of Montana sports and outdoors tradition. Hurry in, shop early, and save big.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Will you ever win? Man, what a song. If only you could be as good as Fleetwood Mac at anything in the world. You'd be one of the best ever at whatever you're doing. Welcome back. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Thanks so much for hanging out here on a Thursday. Well, we're happy now to get today's show kicked off like we always do with all football all the time, except for this is the original kind of football, and in most people's opinions, the best kind of football. It's soccer. Grizz soccer coach Chris Chudovitsky joins us here on Nuanez now. His team heading to the NCAA tournament for the third time in 4 seasons after a thrilling victory in the Big Sky Conference Tournament Championship this last Sunday. Coach, congratulations on the awesome season so far. Thanks so much for joining us. How you doing?
Good. I mean, obviously very excited to be back. I feel like we do these conversations a lot, and I hope we can continue having them a lot because they're a ton of fun.
Montana plays in Pullman Saturday, 6 p.m. against Washington State, an opponent that the Grizzlies have played in the postseason before. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, Coach, take us through the Big Sky Tournament. A couple thrilling wins for you. We were watching both Friday and Sunday, and a tense one all the way down the wire in the semifinal. Friday against Sacramento State, you get a goal in the 87th minute. Just take us through it. Were you worried at all when it was a 0-0 tie and the clock is ticking down?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was more worried in the first half than I was in the second. We weren't expecting Sacramento to set up the way they did. It was almost like this 4-4-1-1 block and play on the counter and then possess the ball higher up the field. Them having played 2 days earlier really brought out the energy of a 6 seed beating a 3, and now they're like, let's go off and beat the 2, and they're all fired up and excited by it. Meanwhile, we've sat around for about 13 days without playing a game, so we started flat. They caught us out tactically. Second half, we made some pretty good adjustments. We really changed the numbers that we had in the middle of the field, which allowed us to possess the ball better, which changed the momentum. And then it was just going to be a matter of time until somebody had scored. And I felt like we have enough quality on the field that sooner or later we were going to get something done. And Allie Larson's ball to Taylor Stoger's incredible header to Charlie Boone being there at the right place at the right time. It's just, that's why you have the players that you have in this program, because they can make special things like that happen.
Chris, Andrew Houghton here. Congrats on the tournament championship, going through to the final. I mean, it was almost exactly the opposite of the semifinal, even though it ended up with the same scoreline. You guys scored relatively early, I think, in the first half hour, and then had to defend the lead against Weber State for the rest of the game. I mean, how did that sort of play out differently than the semifinal?
Yeah, same thing, right? You could tell Weber were flat. I mean, you could even hear him in the warm-up being like, come on, we got to get our energy up. It's like, okay, that's a good sign. If we come out flying, we should be able to pin him back early. And that was it. And then the halftime conversation, I stormed into that locker room and just said, listen, you're up 1-0, but now they're desperate. They have literally nothing to lose. They have to score a goal to make it to the NCAA tournament, to tie this thing up, to make something of it. So it's going to be the reverse of Sacramento. I told him that. I'm like, it's going to be the exact opposite. And it's going to come down to how desperately do you want this? And we can't just use that phrase because that phrase isn't enough, right? It doesn't actually give you coaching points. Hey, I need you to be desperate. What does that mean, Chris? We put it down to defensively, we need pressure cover moments. Every time somebody is on the ball, if they beat the player who's pressing them, we need cover there. Every time there's a ball in the air, if they flick it on, there has to be somebody behind them. Every time anything happens, there's going to be cover for the person pressing. And then on the flip side of things, when it comes to the attack, you just got to take your chances and find ways to possess the ball. And so I feel like it got scrappy, it got yucky, it got ugly at times. So the 50-50 game, the ball was in the air a lot, and it was just long balls forward. But they showed how desperate they were to win it. They had the pressure cover moments, and when we had times to keep the ball and move it up the field, I felt like we did okay with it. We could have been a lot better in that area, but overall, they stuck to the game plan, and that's what I love about this team. Is it's so easy to coach them. They're so flexible with the formations that we play in. Nobody freaks out when they're told, hey, you're moving from a 7 into an 8 or whatever. And so we just got a smart group of kids who know how to get things done.
Chris Chudovitsky joining us. He is the soccer coach for the University of Montana women's soccer team. They head to the NCAA tournament, actually making their way there today, but they play in Pullman, 6 p.m. Saturday evening. Coach, I want to ask you about your goalkeeper because we're talking about a couple 1-0 wins, and that's been sort of the style all season long. Camelia Zhu has been pretty much unstoppable. 12 shutouts by my count, the Big Sky Conference goalkeeper of the year, and only as a redshirt freshman, and that's all in filling in for some of the biggest shoes you could fill in for in the Big Sky Conference, and Claire Howard, one of the great goalies the league has ever seen. So how have you gotten this sort of performance out of your freshman goalkeeper?
Ultimately, we just recruited her, right? We've got a very good recruiting pipeline with certain programs, and Vancouver Whitecaps are very good at developing certain players. They're very good at goalkeepers who can play with their feet. And the whole purpose of the program is to develop players for the Canadian youth national team. So Cam is like in that pool of players who could be called in to play for Canada. I mean, she's that good. And so we knew we were getting a stud when we picked her up in the first place. But then I've got an amazing goalkeeper coach in Jay who is just spectacular at what he does, and the way that he teaches and coaches, it makes Cam a lot better. And to be honest, I know you guys are seeing a certain product and getting excited about it, but all we see is areas to improve still, which means that the kid's only going to get better and better over the coming years. So to everybody who thinks that, oh, wow, Montana had a couple good years, now they'll ease off, absolutely not. We're around for at least another 4 years. And then wait till you see the goalkeepers that we're recruiting for after Cam, because it's only going to keep going forever. That's the bad news for everybody else.
Coach, looking at your first-round NCAA tournament matchup with Washington State, I mean, just looking at their statistical profile, it seems like they're really similar to you. Really good defense. I think they've only given up 11 goals all year, but they also get a ton of shots at the other end, sort of like you guys, but even more. What's it like preparing for a team like that? What's been your read on Washington State going into this game?
Well, here's the difference, right? We have shots and shutouts against, Portland State and schools like that. They're doing it against UCLA. They're doing it against Stanford. They're playing in the Pac-12. This is an amazing team. And my heart sank completely when I saw your tweets, Andrew, about all their stats. I was like, oh, wow, this is obviously we knew it was a good team, but then you start looking at the statistical profiles, and you put them out pretty quick on Twitter. And then Ashley's been doing the scout report, and the more you look at it, when we played them in 2019, Morgan Weaver was still playing. Morgan Weaver was drafted into the NWSL right away and just got pulled up to the full women's national team. I mean, that's the caliber of player they're producing. It's insane. And then go through the roster, and everybody's like 5'10" or 5'11" and above. So it's a team of giants who are extremely athletic, who play the ball very quickly. That's a very direct style of play. It's got nothing to do with necessarily possessing. It's just got to do outshoot the other team and outscore them, and then you win the game. So that's what we're up against. They're very good at what they do. In my opinion, they're a Sweet 16 Elite 8 type team. And so we're going into the belly of the beast. They just gave out 500 free tickets to students. They're going to pack that place out. The band's going to be there. It's an intimidating atmosphere, but it's one we've been in before, and I'm pretty excited to go into again because we've definitely matured as a team too, and the way we practiced this week, it's been pretty impressive.
Chris Chudovitsky joining us. All football all the time. Presented in part by Brett's RV and Marine. Brett's RV and Marine, locally owned and operated for more than 50 years. Head on down to 4800 Grand Creek Road to check out the largest inventory of RVs and boats anywhere under the big sky. Coach, you played in the NCAA tournament within this calendar year. So compare and contrast. I mean, is there distinct differences between conferences and between Power 5 opponents? You played South Carolina earlier this year. Is there a big difference when you're watching Pac-12 versus SEC? And just compare and contrast the opponents that you've had at this level already in this calendar year.
Yeah, that's a really good question. If you look at South Carolina, as soon as we started watching film on that, I'm like, okay, this is fine. Because if they want to spend about 30 minutes of the game just swinging it between their goalkeeper and center backs, I'm completely fine with that because it's so far away from our goal. So South Carolina was definitely more of a possession-based, take your time, break Montana down when it comes. Washington State is just throwing punches nonstop for 90 minutes. So very different styles. And I wouldn't say that's SEC versus Pac-12. That's just coaching styles. And obviously that comes down to the kind of player, the kind of athlete that you have. South Carolina want to recruit pretty ball players who can get things done and athletes up top who can break you down when it's necessary, while Washington State across the board, they've got good ball players, but their greatest strength is athleticism, and they play to that strength so well. And so this one is a lot harder challenge, to be honest, than the other one. Because the other one, I knew if we sat in an organized enough shape, we'd be able to pick off the ball at the right times and wait for a moment. This one, you're talking about being perfect on every single defensive play, because if you're not, here they come. And that's what happened in 2019. We were playing well, and all of a sudden we got caught on a counter that I have no idea how they got through us, because our resting defense was great, but then all of a sudden they're in behind with Morgan Weaver and scoring the 1-0, and the game just falls apart at that point. So this is a completely different beast. This is a very good team that we're up against. And if we win it, then we got to play Tennessee. And if we do that, we got to play Michigan and then Florida State. So the path to the NCAA tournament final is a hard one, guys.
You've talked a little bit earlier in the season about, and this was in the non-conference, you guys went to Long Beach State, got a 1-0 win, I think, when they were receiving votes in the national poll. You talked about just getting to halftime at 0-0 and then making something happen in the second half. How important is that going to be against Washington State? I mean, what tweaks do you think about making at halftime of these games?
I think right now it's more tweaks of how are they playing, right? Are they in a 4-back or a 3-back? Because they tweak their formations a lot. So you need to have a plan for each one. If we're playing a certain way and they're in a 4-back, it's really going to hurt us a lot, which is why I think if I was them, I'd be starting that way. So we need to have a plan B for that setup. We need to have a plan B if they're in a 3-back and all of a sudden turn. 2018 regular season when we played him, not NCAA tournament, it was fine through halftime. And then he started putting people in different positions, which unlocked us. And I was still naive at that point, not smart enough to make the tweaks that I needed to in the run of play. Against Sacramento, we changed formations 3 times in the second half over the span of 45 minutes. It was insane. But every time we did, it just unlocked more spaces for us to play in. So it's going to be more of a tactical game against them now than it ever has been. And it needs to be if we're going to be successful.
Well, Coach, the fact that you've been in the NCAA tournament a couple times in the last few years, does that help? Does that help ease the nerves of the girls, or how does that just contribute to the mental preparation for this match?
Yeah, it really does. It's nice going back there again and be like, okay, we've been here. I would say a third of the team has even played against Washington State in that environment before, so they know what's coming. It all makes it so much easier just having that experience. And then we got some young freshmen who are so naive that it really doesn't matter for them. It's just like, oh, yeah, you get to play soccer again. So they're just excited to go out there and run around and almost not smart enough to know what they're walking into. But because of that, they're going to play well.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking some time. Hopefully, the drive over and Lookout Pass is clear for you. Montana head soccer coach Chris Chudovitsky joining us here on Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television. His team plays Washington State, the first round of the NCAA Women's Soccer Tournament, Pullman, Washington. You can find all the action on ESPN Plus. Begins at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Saturday evening. Coach, from us here at ESPN Missoula, best of luck this weekend, and hopefully we catch up with you soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So you go, Chris Chudovitsky, head coach of the University of Montana women's soccer team. We're covering all the sports today. Hour 1 in the books, Hour 2 coming at you. The all-class volleyball tournament, one of the great spectacles in all of Montana sports, began today in Bozeman. Nate Michael, a local volleyball aficionado, joins us next in studio. Keep it right here, ESPN Radio.
Hi, this is Justin Sinclair from Nissan and Hyundai of Missoula. This time of year, you might need new tires, and our friends at Missoula Food Bank and Community Center need your help nourishing the community. Bring in a jar or two of unopened peanut butter and be entered to win a set of brand new tires for your vehicle. This offer is good through the calendar year, but we need your peanut butter by December 1st. Simply walk in and ask any one of our friendly employees how to enter. You have a chance to win tires, and the peanut butter goes to those in need by the way of Missoula Food Bank and Community Center. Peanut butter for a chance to win tires at Nissan and Hyundai of Missoula.
On game day, there's nothing like tailgating, touchdowns, and Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea goes down smooth and tastes like real iced tea because it's made with real brewed tea. Cool, refreshing, and a 5% kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Fill your game day cooler or your fridge at home with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for bright yellow cans wherever you buy beer. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires, introducing the new Backcountry AT2 for a quieter ride with improved performance in wet conditions. Because when it comes to keeping your family safe on the road this winter, the right tires help you feel prepared for anything.
Mom, hey Mom.
Well, almost anything. Plus, save up to $130 when you buy Quatrac tires with financing. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. See leschwab.com/sale for details.
Compass Barbershop is Missoula's retro barbershop and salon for everyone. From precision cuts and shaves to facial waxing, Compass Barbershop has it all. And now through November 15th, book your shave or beard trim and haircut with Jason and get $15 off. With convenient online booking, it's easy to schedule your appointment today at compassbarber.com. Don't forget to book with Jason for the shave and cut special. Find your way to Compass Barbershop. Open Monday through Saturday on the Hip Strip at the corner of Modern and Retro.
The world of real estate is always evolving. That's more true now than ever. If you are a longtime Missoulian that is looking to upgrade or downsize, it might be the best time yet to sell. If you're in the position to buy something new, today might be the best time to buy. And no matter what questions you have when it comes to residential or commercial real estate, Mike Nugent and the professionals at Berkshire Hathaway in Missoula have your answers. To find out what Mike can do for you, give him a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Choosing where to bank is a no-brainer. Choose the bank that's been helping Western Montana grow since 1907. Choose Farmer State Bank. We have a lot more to offer than just history. Count on Farmer State Bank for innovative traditional, mobile, and online products designed to meet your needs. For personal banking options or business solutions, choose Farmer State Bank. 9 brick-and-mortar locations and online at farmersebank.com. An equal housing lender and member FDIC.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana. KKVU HD3 Stevensville and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Several college football standouts from around the Big Sky Conference earned their way onto national watch lists earlier this week, including one each from the Montana Grizzlies and the Montana State Bobcats. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Wednesday, Stats Perform expanded its watch lists for the Walter Payton and Buck Buchanan Awards given to the National Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year, respectively. Montana junior linebacker Patrick O'Connell landed on the Buchanan watch list, while MSU running back Isaiah Fonse landed on the Payton watch list. O'Connell, a 6'2", 230-pounder out of Kalispell, leads the Big Sky Conference in total sacks with 10.5. He also ranks in the top 10 in the league with 16.5 tackles for loss and 77 total stops. Afonso, a former Washington Gatorade Player of the Year from Bellevue, currently leads the Big Sky and ranks second in the FCS with 1,124 rushing yards. He has 6 100-yard games this season, giving him 14 in his already decorated career. Afonso and Portland State quarterback Davis Alexander were the 2 additions to the stats watch list this week. And around the Big Sky Conference, a few coaching moves transpired in recent days. Brian Katz, the second longest tenured head coach in Big Sky Conference men's basketball, announced his retirement, citing health reasons. And Eastern Washington offensive coordinator Ian Shoemaker resigned abruptly, citing personnel reasons, despite EWU averaging more than 50 points and 600 yards of total offense per contest. This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Selway Armory. Welcome back. Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Happy Thursday. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Great first hour of the show. A variety of interesting guests. Carolyn, our resident chick who doesn't know sports, swung on through. She has a new award. I'm not going to repeat it. You can go find it on the podcast. Also, got our River City Runners. Heard from a couple state champions. Tanner Klump from Missoula Sentinel, Kenzie May from Missoula Hellgate. And we heard from Chris Chudovitsky, the head coach for the University of Montana women's soccer team. You can find all that on the Nuanez Now podcast, proudly presented by Sportsbet Montana, Blackfoot Communications, and the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel. Also, got another new podcast rolling, Soccer in Snow and Smoke. That's Andrew Houghton's soccer podcast. He caught up with the head coaches from all the state champions from around the state of Montana. So interesting one there. And he's also done a great job just covering soccer across all levels of soccer, Grizz soccer, high school soccer, everything. So go check out Soccer in Snow and Smoke, the new soccer podcast presented by ESPN Radio. Happy now to be joined in studio by a guy who's become a friend of mine these last couple months and a local volleyball aficionado. He's Nate Michael. He is the director of the Montana Volleyball Academy. And the all-class volleyball tournament began today in Bozeman. So first of all, Nate, thanks so much for taking some time, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. How are you? It's good to be here.
Yeah, man. Great to be here. The all-class volleyball tournament, for those that haven't been to this, I've covered sports around the Northwest for 16 years now in some form or fashion. And I would say the only high school sporting event that rivals the Montana all-class volleyball tournament is the all-class wrestling tournament in Washington. All-class wrestling tournament in Montana is pretty cool, too. But this thing in Bozeman at Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. I mean, you've been, I'm sure, many times. It's awesome, man.
All in one place, all the courts. You can watch all those different games. So everyone's watching different classes, different things, and yeah, it's amazing. Parents love it. The kids love it. The kids go nuts, and when they make state, it like makes their world. And
yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
And it's so fun too because each court is a different classification. So you got your AA court, your A court, your B court, and your C court, and watching the different classes watch each other is so fun too.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was back at the Bozeman Chronicle, that was a moment in time when Belt was a big time Class C program. But the Belt girls would always stick around to watch Billings Senior, to watch Lewistown. And so you just get this intermingling and it just I mean, I just thought it was so fun to watch. It's just a great spectacle. So if you're ever in Bozeman this time of year, go check it out. You're certainly going to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, or you should just drive to Bozeman and check it out yourself, even if you're not there.
For sure.
Just go check it out, man. It's a lot of good volleyball happening.
It absolutely is. Let's talk first and foremost about some of the results for the day. Maybe the one that's a little bit surprising, Missoula Sentinel, which came in as one of the top seeds in this tournament in Class AA. They lost a heartbreaker to Billings Senior. Do you have any intel on this one?
They did. I know they lost by 2 points in the 5th set.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the East, they're deep. So you go 4 seeds in, you're still going to face a really, really tough team. And Sentinel, they've got the pieces that can do it. They've got the pieces that can go all the way. But I think they just got themselves into a dogfight early, and you get into a 5th set, and man, it can go either way. But yeah, I think they can come through the bottom of it and hopefully find themselves still playing on Saturday.
That's the other part that's awesome about this. It's very similar to like softball, right? Where even if you do lose in the first round, you can still come up and still win the championship, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So you lose one. It's a true double elimination, and so you can fight your way back. They've got a long road. They've got a bunch of matches tomorrow now to try and catch themselves back up. But yeah, they can do that, and you can find yourself back into the championship to win it.
Other AA scores from today: Billings West outlasts Kalispell Glacier in 4 sets. Great Falls CMR a sweep over Butte, and as of the last update I've seen, Bozeman had a 2-set lead over Kalispell Flathead. So,
and the East is looking good.
The East is right. The dominant first day for the East for sure. In Class A, the bracket is looking like this so far. Miles City beat Hamilton, so then Miles City's on to play Polson. Corvallis swept Hardin. Havre swept Ronan. And Billings Central swept Dillon. So no Lewistown in the bracket. That was the dynasty for a long time. And then the Class B level, you got several different results are in. Shoto outlasted Jefferson in 5 sets. Townsend over Thompson Falls in 4 sets. Huntley Project, of course they did, swept Malta, and they await the winner of Glasgow, Florence Carlton. So
you can just send Huntley Project, probably just through the whole thing if you want. Yeah, they're kind of always there.
So that's the question I want to ask you then, is building dynasties at the high school level, any sport, one of the central commonalities is always the coach, of course.
Yeah.
I remember when Jeff Carroll was at Billings Senior, he was one of the best in AA, and then Billings Senior was always good. But what else goes into this? Because volleyball more than any other sport, like I would not have had to pay. I could pay attention to volleyball, not at all. I could go live it on the other side of the globe, and I would know that Huntley Project is in the state tournament at the very least, right?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
You know, they get their kids playing early. So I think those programs they have good feeder schools from the middle schools, and they're not just playing in season during the fall, but they're starting to play some club ball. They're starting to do some other things in the spring together, and I think the places that get that fire lit like really early when they're in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, that's what does it. Because by the time that you need your sophomores, juniors, and seniors to go win a state title for you, they're just way more experienced than everybody else. And I think you saw that with Jeff Carroll. You see that at Huntley Project, and then even the past few state winners that haven't been dynasties, never but they've won the past couple. They've had good club system programs in their towns. Those kids have been playing for a long time at a high level, and I think that's the main difference.
Nate Michael joining us here in studio. He's the director for the Montana Volleyball Academy and our local volleyball expert. Let's talk about that influence, the club influence, because it seems as if, particularly in soccer and volleyball, that making it into a year-round sport is almost necessary in terms of being able to develop to play at like the varsity level in Montana. So that's kind of what you guys do, right? And so how is the rise of clubs sort of influences the volleyball scene?
It's helped. I think it's helped. It's helped the overall level of play within the state. We're seeing way more girls from the state go to high level college, and there's some girls that are just physically dominant. They're going to go to those places anyway. But I think we've seen a lot more girls that are just. They have more skill now because they're playing club at a different level, and there's a lot more clubs in the area that aren't just playing club in Montana. There's a lot more clubs in our area that are traveling out of state. They're going to Arizona. They're going to Las Vegas. They're going to Washington and Seattle and doing those kinds of tournaments. And I think that when you see other levels at different places, that it started to make volleyball's accelerating.
Have you coached club in other states?
I have. I've coached in California and in Texas.
Okay, that's interesting. So those are two big time states for sure.
Big time states. And club here was still. I've lived here for about 12 years now, and it was still kind of just getting going. And so we're just seeing kind of the start of it, of how big it can kind of get.
Yes, it's only been about a decade since this has been a sort of a thing, right? A trend. I asked you if you'd coached outside the state only because I find this interesting. I think that there's sort of this cliche notion that Montana athletes oftentimes are under recruited. But I also think we've seen this huge tipping point, especially with female athletes.
Yeah.
The best female athletes in Montana from a variety of sports, whether it's basketball, volleyball, track and field particularly, there's no overlooking. I mean, there's Power 5 schools come here all the time. I remember when I first moved back to Montana, I think there was like 7 girls that went to the Power 5 for track and field alone. So it seems as if, though, Montana produces particularly exceptional female athletes.
It does, and they're like I said before. There are some of the female athletes here that are they're physical specimens.
Right.
They're tall. They can jump. They've got great arms, great physical strength. When I first moved here, I knew a coach. He was coaching at USD, and we were trying to say, hey, we've got this player. He's like, no, don't worry, I got a guy in Montana that helps me find these kids. And everybody wants to have that. Every big time coach has that person in Montana that they want to go find that diamond in the rough, and they want to go do that. And so there's always been eyes here.
The evolution of sports, just in terms of the infiltration of technology, has been interesting to me as a Montanan as well. 15 years ago, I never would have thought in my life I would be seeing Butte High School run the spread offense in football. But they do.
Right.
Because you can get the film, you can learn how to do it, teach the kids. From a volleyball perspective, has that sort of stuff evolved as well?
Absolutely. The blocking schemes are starting to change. Like when I got here, a lot of the high schools were still pretty basic, slow offense even through the middle. But now, the high school offenses are getting way better. The blocking is changing. They're going faster. There's a lot more second tempo out to each pin. It's changed a ton. And I think the coaches are getting more educated. They're trying to keep up with the Jeff Carrolls who are just winning for so long.
Right.
He was 2 steps ahead of everybody, I feel like. And so, I think that's definitely happening.
What do you think is the hardest position in volleyball to develop?
The setter's the hardest to develop.
Right.
Yeah, because they need to be a physically gifted athlete. They need to have exceptional hands, to be able to locate the ball. And they just need the amount of reps that it takes to be good. That is, I think, what makes it the hardest. And that's why, with so many kids playing so much more volleyball around here, the setting is getting better, and that's how the offenses are getting better, because that kid is getting so many more touches on the ball than she was before. But that's definitely the hardest one to develop. I think that, and then middles, because they have to have a certain amount of size,
right,
and they have to have a high IQ to be able to play that game.
Totally. Nate Michael joining us here in studio. We're talking all things volleyball. The all-class volleyball tournament for the high school level began in Bozeman today, so we'll keep you up to date for that through the weekend. We forgot to mention your wife, Allison Lawrence, is the head coach of the University of Montana women's volleyball team, and she was saying the same thing because we were talking, and she was saying one time they lost their setter and how it's like akin to losing your quarterback in football, right?
Oh yeah, completely. Because it has the pace for the entire offense, and so everybody's footwork timing is determined by how that setter paces the ball, and even kind of the setter's body movements and how she even touches the ball. So as soon as that changes, it ripple effects throughout everybody else, and because she touches the ball every single play, it affects it greatly.
I also find this fascinating, and this is something from working with Andrew, our producer now. He has taught me so much about all the intricacies of soccer. I think that football caters to talk radio so much because we hear all these analysts that are teaching us about football. You have John Gruden, you have Peyton Manning, all these guys. And so then I learned early in my career that learning the intricacies of strategy was very important, particularly if you wanted to talk to coaches on a real level, because head football coaches at the college level, they're not going to answer your questions if you don't know something about football. But I do feel like that element is sort of lost on some of the exterior sports. So is there a parallel in terms of strategic change, or is there something that's happened to the game of volleyball that's changed akin to like the read option in football? Is the game more wide open, faster? Is there anything that's changed that's like a sort of like a unlocking of a code?
Yeah, I mean, there's been changes. I mean, you can go, it depends how far you want to go back, but I mean, yeah, there's been like some epic changes, and yeah, all sports have those things that, like you said, there's just more to it than meets the eye. And volleyball doesn't have as many moving parts as football does. I mean, that's just that's on a different level. But yeah, I think that what's basically happened with volleyball over the past like 20 years is the speed of it. And being able to, it used to be when you could run a first tempo ball in the middle, that was a huge thing. Like when the Chinese first started doing it in the Olympics.
So what does that mean?
And so that means right there is that you set it. They're in the air when the setter has the ball.
Got it.
And so it takes so it's what first tempo, zero tempo. There is one step left.
So then
the
you're hitting at the
jumping.
apex of your jump.
Yeah, right when the setter has it. And now, it's a goal to not just have those things when the hitter is right next to the setter, but they are running those kinds of routes in first and second tempo, 20 feet away from the setter on the other pin, and that's when it got really fast. And then with the size of the athlete, then the block had to start catching up to that, and so they started swing blocking. So instead of moving their blockers around kind of statically and shuffling their feet, now they're taking full open jumping approaches to try and block. And now the game's gotten so fast to where you actually have to call in your blocking play. At the high levels, you're like, you're going to commit here, you're going to do this. If she does this, then you're committing to this player, and you call in your blocking play to even try to slow an offense down.
There's a certain level of tenacity, perseverance that goes into making it as a sort of non-prototype size in a lot of sports. I think some people look at volleyball, especially at the college level, and just think, well, how do you ever get into this unless you're just born 6'3"?
Yeah.
Is there a great equalizer, though?
There is. Yeah, you can be a libero. You can be a defensive guru and get in there. Yeah, we had on our club team, we had a girl. She was actually from Spokane and came out and played with us. And I think she was under 5 feet. Like, she was probably 4'8". And man, she was lightning fast and inspired everybody. And you couldn't put a ball down on her. And she was the reason that we won. So you can. At the net, no, you're you got
If you're 6'4", you're 6'4".
You got to touch a certain height, to be able to do that. But no, you still can. And I feel like there is a trend that people were going to big setters, and of course you can use that in the front row. And if you have a big setter, that's still great. But I also see things going back the other way a little bit. They're taking the smaller setter who's smart and knows how to run the offense, and even though it might be a little bit of a blocking liability, they're starting to do that a little bit. And so you can still crack your way in if you're under 6 foot.
One thing that I always think is fascinating when it comes to men's sports in America is that football and basketball have such huge spotlights that I feel like so many great athletes gravitate towards those and maybe don't ever even get exposed to other sports. There's always the argument of why is the United States men's international team in soccer not as good on an international level, whereas the women's is the best in the world.
Right.
A lot of our best women athletes in America play soccer.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I always thought to myself, well, what if, Odell Beckham Jr. played soccer instead of football, right? There's no way he wouldn't be a great soccer player. He's so fast and big and strong.
Yeah.
But then I always think about this as more applicable to men's volleyball than anything in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if Dwight Howard would have chosen to play volleyball.
No, I don't want to imagine that.
I mean, you're talking 6'10" with a 40-inch vertical. I mean, this guy would be like a murderer on the volleyball court, right?
I think the average, this was a little ways back, but I think the average touch of like taking 3 steps and then jumping, the average men's height on a national team was like 11'6" or 11'8".
Sure.
So I mean, that's tall. That's big. That's a big touch. But yeah, what Dwight Howard touches like 13 feet? Like,
I mean,
like,
there's the legend.
I don't even want to know what that's like.
There's the legendary story of Kevin Garnett at the NBA draft combine where he jumps up and hangs off the top of the backboard, right?
Yes.
I think the top of the backboard's 12.5 feet.
Yeah.
So remember Chase Buttinger?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was in San Diego when he was still in high school, so yeah.
So tell people this story, because for those that don't remember, Chase Buttinger is probably, if you know who he is, you probably know him as the guy who played basketball at Arizona and then in the NBA. But he was also like the best volleyball player in the country, right?
Yes, he was, and he's on the AVP right now. Like he is. Oh yeah, he's on the AVP.
I love that.
He's playing in the sand right now, and you can't touch that guy. He's a wall.
That.
You can't hit by him. But yeah, that's one example of just great athletes are great athletes, and yeah, he did. But yeah, he played for I think it was La Costa Canyon or something down in San Diego was his high school, and yeah, that guy was a stud.
Well, we have that sort of. I have a similar example of that here in Missoula. One of my good buddies, Sean Wren, who I take my spin classes with. He's a former Grizz punter, but he's a great volleyball player too. Or at least he was until he tore his Achilles.
I know, man. He was my assistant coach.
Oh, was he? Okay. I figured you guys must have known each other.
Yeah, he's been a buddy of mine for a while, and yeah, he went back. He played for Long Beach State, and then ended up punting for the Grizz. And yeah, it's just
we used to always tell him like, man, it's cool to play for the Grizz and everything, but like you're the punter, man. Why aren't you playing like international level volleyball?
Yeah,
he's a sweet volleyball player.
Yeah, he's a good volleyball player.
Yeah, gotta love it. Well, shout out to Sean, if by chance he's listening.
Yeah.
And hopefully that Achilles is getting better, buddy, because you need to keep playing that volleyball, especially in the sand. Nate Michael joining us here on Nuanez, now ESPN Radio, talking all things volleyball. All right, so I want to ask you about this because there's a lot that goes into collegiate sports, especially at mid-major conferences like the Big Sky Conference. And so much of it is revenue-based and what your school and your conference are going to prioritize. But it's always seemed like a big challenge at the Montana schools to build successful volleyball programs.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me why maybe Sacramento State has always been good. But how has Northern Colorado and Weber gotten good? I guess what does it take to build a successful program in a league like the Big Sky where most schools are probably putting a higher priority, especially financially, on football and basketball?
Yeah, it is though. Like it does. You mentioned the financial component, and that is part of it. But it is recruiting, and I know there's spots like other than Sacramento State, like you mentioned, like Weber. But Weber's kind of they've gotten some sort of pipeline come in.
Yeah.
and Utah has really good volleyball.
Utah has really good high school sports.
They do,
man.
yeah. And so like they've gotten a way to keep those kids there and do that. And I think I think the Big Sky in general is doing an amazing job of raising their RPIs, getting a whole lot better there.
Volleyball, it seems like it's gotten a lot better.
Volleyball in the Big Sky Conference is night and day to me what it was like 10 years ago.
Right.
And I think both Montana schools are on the rise. I mean, Bozeman's hitting. I think they finished. No, I think they got upset last year in the conference tournament, but they went in as the second seed, and they're starting to keep some of the bigger Montana players here in the state. There's a couple that are still leaving, going to Boise State and going to Wazoo and doing a few things like that. But I feel like for both the Montana schools, that's going to be key. One, they've got to keep the best players in the state home. And even if the best ones leave, the second tier ones got to stay here. And yeah, most of them have. Coincidentally, I think both schools are starting to get more. Even there's been some Texas and California kids that are starting to come because there's a lot of people that really want to come to Montana.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
I'm torn over this phenomenon,
especially in the past couple of years.
Yes.
It's started to happen.
Yes.
But yeah, it's finding those recruiting pools and those recruiting niches and getting those kids to stay here. I think that's the biggest deal.
Well, very cool to watch the sport grow. I always love when sports grow, and it seems like a lot of sports in Montana, but particularly the last two that we just talked about here on Nuanez Now have grown a tremendous amount, both soccer and volleyball. Nate Michael with me in studio. Tell people a little bit about how they can get involved with your academy, because this seems like a good opportunity for the youth around our community.
It is. It's a great opportunity, and there's clubs like in all like pretty much every city has a volleyball club now that you can be a part of, and you could honestly, if you just Google it, you can probably find the tryouts that you can get to and start to be a part of it. Most of the clubs either have a tryout or some of them have enough teams to where they can kind of house everybody and get everybody into tournaments. The AAU system here is great for volleyball because they just have they start after the basketball season, so you can get your basketball season kind of over and done with, and then you can play some AAU ball. They have tournaments pretty much every weekend, Saturdays or Sundays, depending how old you are. But yeah, you can go to gomva.com for Montana Volleyball Academy stuff. We're going through our tryout processes right now. Zootown is another club in Missoula. I think they're ztvolleyball.com. They do a great job, but it is if you can get involved in youth volleyball and get your kid playing early, it's the best way. It gives them a leg up for making their high school teams and doing all that, and it's a pretty fun way to spend your time.
Well, last thing for you, because I know that you've been working at the athletic department down at the University of Montana as well on the Grizz Vision. I got to know this: Over under 50,000 emails when they didn't play Cotton Eye Joe the first couple games.
That wasn't my department, but I'm pretty sure it was over.
I mean, you never in your life thought that something that's been on repeat for 20 years would be so controversial, but that's the only thing I heard about from the first month of the Grizz season. Nothing about anything besides, why don't they play Cotton Eye Joe anymore?
I did. I've got when I'm in there and I'm pressing buttons to put cameras on the jumbotron or whatever, and I'm listening to the marketing director, and I think it was the over. I think it was the over.
Well, they got it back going. Nate, thanks so much for being here, man. This was awesome.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Nuanez now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. What's Bobby Houck think about a trip to Flagstaff? Well, a lot of people don't remember. Coach Houck used to live in Flagstaff. Some memories from the early on in Bobby Houck's football career. Right after this, Nuanez now. Paul Ryan is a name that's been synonymous with law around the Garden City for decades. And Paul is excited to announce the expansion of his firm to Ryan, Holloway, and Miller. Paul Ryan, Nate Holloway, and Angie Miller have a fierce love for their community, and they want to help you with any of your legal needs. From auto accidents to medical malpractice to wrongful death or any criminal defense, Ryan, Holloway, and Miller should be your first call. When it comes to personal injury or criminal defense, call Ryan, Holloway, and Miller today. Ryan, Holloway, and Miller, your Montana attorneys. Hallelujah. Football is back around the Treasure State, and whether you want to watch high school football on SWX Montana or on the MHSA live stream, or you're looking to catch the Grizzlies each and every Saturday, or you want to check out all the action when it comes to the NFL, you want to head on down to Paradise Falls. Has 30 big screen TVs, 18 draft beers, breakfast, lunch, dinner, plus Paradise Falls has the Sports Bet Montana kiosks, so you can make all your bets no matter what football you are watching. Come watch football in Paradise at Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Open your new Stockman bank account anytime, anywhere with online account opening. Now, you can open an account in minutes on your laptop, tablet, or mobile phone. It's convenient, simple, and secure. Open your new account today at stockmanbank.com. Then, add our online and mobile banking services so you can manage your money when, where, and how you want. Stockman Bank, Montana's brand of banking. Member FDIC.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
We're officially in November, which means the holiday shopping season is kicking into high gear. While it may still seem a bit early, if there was ever a time to think ahead, this is it. Bob Ward's has stocked the store and is offering up some big savings early to help you get a head start on your shopping. You'll find amazing deals on gear in skiing, hunting, fishing, camping, golfing, and athletics departments. Plus, save big on footwear and apparel. Bob Ward's, over 100 years of Montana sports and outdoors tradition. Hurry in, shop early, and save big.
We know getting your student to graduation can feel like a long road. At Montana Youth Challenge Academy, your child can get past common distractions and focus on their future. Our partnerships with Montana high schools create a variety of pathways to graduation. We offer academic, professional, and life coping skills within the structured environment students need for success. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Try a different path. Apply to our cost-free program at mycacademy.org.
Brought to you by Montana Youth Challenge Academy and this station.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Several college football standouts from around the Big Sky Conference earned their way onto national watch lists earlier this week, including one each from the Montana Grizzlies and the Montana State Bobcats. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Wednesday, Stats Perform expanded its watch lists for the Walter Payton and Buck Buchanan Awards given to the National Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year, respectively. Montana junior linebacker Patrick O'Connell landed on the Buchanan watch list, while MSU running back Isaiah Fonse landed on the Payton watch list. O'Connell, a 6'2", 230-pounder out of Kalispell, Hopewell leads the Big Sky Conference in total sacks with 10.5. He also ranks in the top 10 in the league with 16.5 tackles for loss and 77 total stops. Afonso, a former Washington Gatorade Player of the Year from Bellevue, currently leads the Big Sky and ranks second in the FCS with 1,124 rushing yards. He has 6 100-yard games this season, giving him 14 in his already decorated career. Afonso and Portland State quarterback Davis Alexander were the 2 additions to the Stats Watch list this week. And around the Big Sky Conference, a few coaching moves transpired in recent days. Brian Katz, the second longest tenured head coach in Big Sky Conference men's basketball, announced his retirement, citing health reasons. And Eastern Washington offensive coordinator Ian Shoemaker resigned abruptly, citing personnel reasons, despite EWU averaging more than 50 points and 600 yards of total offense per contest. This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Selway Armory. There that were in your mid-30s in the early 1990s, you're so lucky. Had to be some of the greatest times, especially with music. Welcome back, ESPN Radio. It's Nuanez Now. I'm Colter Nuanez, coming to you from the Northwest Motorsport Studio. Northwest Motorsport, new to Missoula, new to Montana. You can find them at the corner of Stevens and Mount here in the Garden City. You can also find them online at nwmsrocks.com. That's nwmsrocks.com. Earlier in the show, we tried to give you some free mimosas and brunch from the AC Hotel, and no caller, so we'll do it again. 888-1029, caller number 1. We got 2 vouchers from the AC Hotel for brunch at any time. You can have some avocado toast, some mimosas, some Bloody Marys. 406-888-1029. Call that number right now. We're going to hook you up. No doubt about it. You heard there in the Sports Center, a couple coaching changes in the Big Sky Conference, a couple resignations. And I know I'm sort of stuck on Brian Katz from Sacramento State. I've mentioned it multiple times. Most people around Montana are sitting there thinking, well, who cares? Who gives a dang about the head coach for the Sacramento State men's basketball team? Well, here's where I'm at. I want the league to be good. And by that, I don't mean I want everyone to win. That's not possible. In an 11 or 12 team league, you will have the stratification of records across the board, particularly in a sport like basketball, where unlike football, you actually play everybody, or at least I guess now there is a round robin, so you do play everyone. So therefore, I want the team that's going to win 8 of their 20 conference games to be well coached and have good players. Brian Katz, in 14 seasons at Sac State, never chased the conference title all but 1 year. He had Mike McKinney, who was the MVP of the league, and ironically, actually, probably one of the primary factors of the Big Sky moving their conference basketball tournaments to a neutral site came because Sac State almost won the league. If Sac State would have won the league that year, it would have been incredibly tough for them to host the Big Sky Conference tournament because of their facility. It's very small. Their exterior facilities, they don't have a lot of place for practice time. So what I'm getting at is that, again, every league every year is going to have a first-place team and they're going to have a last-place team. I want the teams that are in the middle to the bottom of the league to have some semblance of respectability. And when a guy like Brian Katz retires, it's a bummer because Brian Katz is a very good in-game coach. He's a good recruiter. Sac State, again, they might be sort of signed, sealed, delivered as the 6 to 8 seed every single year, but their best player is going to be one of the best players in the league. It adds to the entertainment value. It adds to the experience for the fans. So hopefully Sac State can keep it going because I do think having a guy that is coaching at his alma mater, is dedicated to his craft, like Brian Katz, I think that's important in the Big Sky Conference. It's time now for our Hauk Highlights, which is a one-on-one conversation between myself and Montana head coach Bobby Houck. It's presented by Ryan Holloway and Miller. Paul Ryan, one of the most respected names in law in the state of Montana. He has won top attorney in Missoula 13 different times. And Paul is now excited to announce the expansion of his firm to Ryan Holloway and Miller. Nate Holloway and Angie Miller, just like Paul Ryan, have a fierce love for this Missoula community. So no matter what your legal needs are, from medical malpractice or wrongful death to criminal defense, Ryan Holloway and Miller should be your first call. They have a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week answering service. So anytime you have a legal need, call Ryan Holloway and Miller, your Montana attorneys. Bobby Houck from before Wednesday's practice.
Well, I want to ask you about your time at NAU. I think that's maybe not something that people remember because it was a long time ago, but you were there for, 2 seasons? Is that right?
2 seasons, yep.
Whose staff were you on?
Steve Axman was the head coach.
Okay.
Ax is a great dude.
And he came back around in the Big Sky, right? Did he come back to Montana once upon a time, or I feel like he was in the Big Sky again?
He came back and coached our quarterbacks here in 2006, I think. In fact, it was 2006.
The year Josh Schwager year, right? I remember that. Okay. So what are some of your memories of Flagstaff? Because my family's actually from Sedona, Arizona, and so I spent a lot of time in Flag. I love Flag. Did you like your time there?
I did. I loved it. It's a great town. It's a cool place to live. It's cool that, like you mentioned, Sedona, you can drive, it's 23 miles down Oak Creek Canyon to Sedona. You drop 3,000 feet. And then Phoenix is, the north end of Phoenix is an hour and a half away. So you can drive, you can get the snow and the mountains, and you can get good weather.
Do you remember any of your players from back then? You were coaching outside linebackers, right?
I was. I remember a lot of them. We had a lot of good guys. We had good teams. I think the 2 years I was there, we were 7-4 both years. We had good teams, good staff, good players. It was fun.
There's so many connections to Flagstaff and Missoula too, especially then because Coach Sauer spent so much time there as well. But also it seems like Flagstaff's kind of a similar town to Missoula, right? I mean, do you see sort of parallels?
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. I think the vibe in the town is really similar. It's right in the mountains. It's a cool place.
What, recruiting there, was that difficult, or what was recruiting like to Northern Arizona?
I'm trying to remember. I had the city of Phoenix, Vegas, and San Diego. And so those are good areas to recruit, and a lot of good kids. So it's, it's easy to get there. Kids could come for games on the weekends, and a lot of good players regionally there.
That's not bad having Vegas when you're a young coach either, huh?
Vegas, San Diego, and Phoenix. That was administrative error.
That's pretty good. I didn't realize either that you had crossed paths with Chris Ball and that you guys were good buddies. He was telling me you guys go fishing every summer. So what have you thought of just his influence on that program so far?
Well, I even knew Coach Quintera.
Right.
Way back before Axe. So, but all the head coaches at NAU the last, as long as I can remember, I've had a high regard for. Joe Salem's kids are friends of mine. So, high regard for a lot of guys that have been through there. And Chris Ball's a great guy, and he's doing a great job. And, I hope good things for him, except for when we play him.
Well, I know when Robbie was coming out here, when your son was coming out, Northern Arizona was on the radar. He went there for a minute. So did you have, is that sort of I know it's not your decision, it's his decision, but were you satisfied with him going to play for a guy like Jerome? Because it seems like Jerome's had a lot of respect around the league for a long time.
Yeah, I was excited when, it really came down to Cal Poly, NAU, and the United States Military Academy with him, and I was excited he was going to go play for Jerome, yeah.
Well, this weekend, what do you think the key factors are? How's practice been this week? And, it's always a weird place to play, so why do you think that is?
Well, I don't think that.
No, you don't? Okay. It's just pretty linear. Well, what do you think of just the matchup, the trip to Flag?
It's always I think it's a good place to play. I think both teams will play really hard, and I'm excited to watch it go.
Yep.
So there you go, Montana head coach Bobby Houck. It's part of our Houck Highlights presented by Ryan Holloway and Miller. University of Montana plays at Northern Arizona. Bobby Houck was there for 2 years on Steve Axman's staff, as you heard him say there. Those are some good NAU teams. We're bringing now Andrew Houghton, SkylineSportsMT.com, as well as our producer here at ESPN Missoula, into the fold to talk a little bit about this. Mitch Stroman put this in perspective for me yesterday, Andrew, when he was on the show. I couldn't really figure out why Northern Arizona seemed so anonymous to me, but then I realized there were several factors. One, when I first started Skyline Sports and we first started building this thing, a couple of the guys that helped me the most in terms of teaching me about football and also just always being gracious with their time answering their questions, there was the big three. Well, I guess Rob Ash was in that mix, too, at Montana State. But Rob Ash, for sure, Montana State. Coach Delaney here at Montana. But more than anybody, Mike Kramer when he was at Idaho State, Tim Walsh when he was at Cal Poly, and Jerome Sowers when he was at Northern Arizona. Those guys were sort of the resident historians for their programs. And a guy like Krames, he just knows everything about the Big Sky Conference, period. So not having Jerome Sowers at NAU, that's definitely one thing that added to the anonymous nature in my brain of Northern Arizona. But more than anything, though, NAU hasn't been to Missoula since McKenna Simmons was playing quarterback on a freezing cold day back in 2017. This was like round one of Andrew working with me at Skyline. The Grizz haven't been to Flag since 2016. I usually try to go when the Grizz go or the Cats go down to Northern Arizona because my family's from down there. I haven't been to Flag since 2015 because that's the last time the Cats were there, and I didn't go. The Grizz haven't been there since 16, and I didn't go the one time the Cats have been there since then. So it's just totally bizarre that you have teams in the same league that haven't, like, it's blasphemous, honestly, that Montana hasn't been to Northern Arizona in 5 years. It's just stupid. It's a trip. It's like traditional rivals. These schools know each other. They want to play each other. It just seems silly.
The perils of the unbalanced schedule, right? Which,
Yeah.
I mean, we could complain about the unbalanced schedule for
Forever,
Big Sky football because it affects so many things, which we talk about all the time. I think this is one of the worst ones that it does affect because now you're coming in with the two rivals, whatever, and I forget how they picked them.
Right.
But a lot of these schools have more, Montana, every school in the conference is a rival, right? And you're not going to get those games every year.
I know. And, like, this is how silly the unbalanced schedule is. And you're right. We don't want to waste too much time because it's an unsolvable problem on our end. There's no advice or analysis or scrutiny we could give to change any of it. But here we are right now. The guys that are the seniors on the Grizz are on their second straight road trip they've never made before.
That's crazy.
And they're in conference games. That's stupid. I don't even know what else to say. It's just objectively silly. Let's talk about this actual game, though. Because Northern Arizona has sort of occupied an anonymous segment in my brain, I don't have a real analysis of what Chris Ball has done since taking over there. I think it was very clear that it was much different at NAU than under Jerome Sowers. The number one indicative property being that they had a mass exodus of players right when Chris Ball took over. Not uncommon for a coaching change. But Mitch Stroman, voice of the NAU Lumberjacks, yesterday on the show, said their recruiting's been lights out, been through the roof, national level, on the FCS level. I think that's being proven at least by the skill in their offensive backfield because they have very talented players at both quarterback and running back that are both freshmen. But I know you've done some research on this team, Andrew, and you have a good insight on SkylineSportsMT.com. Just kind of diagnosing some of the players and storylines to watch in this game. But what's your take on NAU? Where are they at just in the Big Sky Conference? Is Chris Ball doing a good job? I mean, where are they at?
Well, I think it's really difficult to say whether Chris Ball is doing a good job because this is technically his third season.
Sure.
You had the spring season. I mean, really, it's his second season, and there's so much, off time that goes into it. It's impossible to judge, right? Mm-hmm. I think what's interesting about this team is they do have the young guys on offense with quarterback RJ Martinez, running back Kevin Daniels, but their guys on defense are really experienced, man. Carson Taylor, their defensive end, has been there since 2016.
Yeah, he's been there a while.
Morgan Vest has been there for a while, even though he transferred in after junior college. Here's my take on this game, Coulter. I think that this is just a really weird game for a number of reasons, not because of anything that NAU is going to do, not because of like game plan reasons. I mean, I think there are interesting things to talk about with NAU's roster and scheme and stuff, especially with the freshman quarterback. But the whole feeling around this game is just, it's off a little bit. I think there are a number of reasons for that. First of all, everybody's been looking forward to Montana and Montana State this whole year.
Right.
this is the last week before. I mean, it's been, man, the biggest tease of all time because we've gone 11 weeks.
Yeah.
We're 1 week away from the Brawl of the Wild now. It seems like it's going to live up to the hype. We got to do this one first, and we got to focus on this game. The other thing is, this is the Grizzlies' first road trip of the year. They haven't played back-to-back road games yet, right?
Right.
So you're dealing with that. I mean, that's just, it's like, man, this little speed bump before you have your date with destiny. And it's just, I'm sure that doesn't affect the players at all or the coaching staff. It just feels off to me.
No question. And the cliche that's been thrown around all week for both these teams is trap games because they are playing a couple teams from the middle to bottom half of the Big Sky Conference standings. Of course, the Bobcats host Idaho on Saturday. But I do think it's distinct advantage Bobcats in terms of who they play this week. Not necessarily because Idaho's worse than NAU, although Idaho did just lose to NAU 2 weeks ago, but because Idaho's not an unfamiliar opponent. It's not in an unfamiliar place. It's senior day in Bozeman. I don't think the Bobcats will have any problem with Idaho. It's a good matchup for the Cats. It's a bad matchup for Idaho. They're going to have a sold-out stadium, senior day, blah, blah, blah. It's very unlikely. A catastrophe would have to happen for the Cats to stub their toe, whereas I don't really know how much I believe in the notion of an actual trap game, but there's a lot more exterior factors that go into this one for the Grizz. So, again, I'm not proclaiming this is a trap game whatsoever. I don't even know if I believe in that notion, but you're right. First trip to a place in a long time, that's just it's a different dynamic. Like, none of these coaches have ever coached in Flagstaff besides Bobby Houck. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think NAU is a bad team either. I wrote this in my preview for Skyline Sports. I think they're just the most average team in the conference.
The only average team
right,
in the
they're the only average, right, which is like, it sounds like damning with faint praise, but this year, like, that's actually a good thing. Like, you're beating the teams that you're beating bad teams, you're losing to good teams. You're not a bad football team.
No.
You're losing to, they got blown out by Sac State, blown out by UC Davis, whatever. But they're beating all the bad teams in the conference. I don't think they're a bad team. I think they've got a lot of talent. I agree with you. I think that Idaho doesn't really have a chance in Bozeman on Saturday, but I think we could see some crazy stuff down in Flagstaff this week.
We'll see. I hope not only because we have no rooting interest in any of this, but these two teams stubbing their toe before the brawl. I mean, I guess it would set up some interesting scenarios, but I want these two teams in the top 5, man. I want to see a showdown, a throwdown in Missoula, so hopefully we get there. Up against it, so we'll take one more break, then we'll get you all set for what's going on Friday and send you home here on your Thursday. It's Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires, introducing the new Backcountry AT2 for a quieter ride with improved performance in wet conditions. Because when it comes to keeping your family safe on the road this winter, the right tires help you feel prepared for anything.
Mom, hey Mom.
Well, almost anything. Plus, save up to $130 when you buy Quatrack tires with financing. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. See leschwab.com/sale for details.
Buying or selling a home can be an intimidating task. Brent Wahlberg and the Wahlberg team of Windermere Real Estate are here to make you feel comfortable no matter where you're at in the process. The official realtors of Grizzly Athletics have more than 4 decades of experience in Western Montana. Brent and his team can not only find you your perfect home or buyer, but they can also teach you about the great city of Missoula and its tradition-laden sports teams. The Wahlberg team works as a family to help fulfill your real estate needs all over Western Montana. If you need help with residential, land, investment, or commercial, give Brent Wahlberg and the Wahlberg team a call today. Why build a work history at a job when you can build a future in your own business? Westpac Wealth Partners is looking for entrepreneurial-minded people who are ready to take their future into their own hands. Nick Tabor and his associates provide clients with financial tools and tested solutions for navigating this complex financial climate. Westpac Wealth also has a work culture that has been recognized as a best workplace in Fortune magazine. If you're ready to start building a business in a long-term career, apply at westpacwealth.com. Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. Insurance products offered through Westpac Wealth Partners and Insurance Services, LLC, a DBA of Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC.
Here at Florence Coffee, we take pumpkin serious, offering a variety of pumpkin lattes, chais, and frappes. They're all made with our real pumpkin to give your drink that genuine and satisfying fall pumpkin taste. Also try our all-natural pumpkin spice flavoring made from real spices and extracts. If you're ready for something pumpkin, you're ready for Florence Coffee. Go to any location or florencecoffeeco.com.
Under the big sky, Florence Coffee Company. 4 years running, Coulter Nuanez and the team at ESPN Missoula have captured the E.B. Craney Award for Radio Sports Coverage of the Year. Each Wednesday on Nuanez Now, the featured long-form interview of the week takes center stage. Tune in to Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula or SWX Montana Television to hear the Montana Radio Sportscaster of the Year conduct an in-depth interview with prominent sports figures from around Montana. The ESPN Roundtable during the 5 o'clock hour each Wednesday on Nuanez Now is proudly presented by Paradise Falls.
The NFL is back in full force. Join Coulter Nuanez as he presents a variety of top-notch analysis with featured experts like Brooks Nuanez, Ryan Tutel, Rajim Seabrook, Sean Rainey, and more. All football all the time. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays in the 5 o'clock hour on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula. All football all the time. Proudly sponsored by Brett's RV and Marine.
Is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
I may be blue, I wish you could see them make it true. Caught up in a rush, it's killing you. Dreaming at the sun you go into. Caught up in a grip, we were fingers in a fist, like in my run. I settle for
Welcome back, Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Thanks for being with us here on a Thursday. Missed anything in today's show? All sorts of guests. Carolyn, the chick who doesn't know sports, swung by. We also heard from Tanner Klumpf, the Class AA boys state champion in cross country, and Kenzie May, the Class AA girls state champion in cross country. We also heard from Chris Chitavitsky, head coach of the UM women's soccer team. Nate Michael of the Montana Volleyball Academy, local volleyball expert, swung by to talk all things volleyball, including the Class AA and All Class, volleyball tournament, which is taking place in Bozeman. And then we heard from Bobby Houck, talking a little Big Sky football. You can find everything from today's show in the Nuanez Now podcast, available on all your podcast hosting platforms, and proudly presented by Sportsbet Montana, the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel, and Blackfoot Communications. Tomorrow, Dane Oliver will join us, Garden City Spotlight. We'll also hear from Caden Hewitt, Helena High quarterback, and we'll hear from Tucker Rovig, Montana State quarterback. Why Tucker Rovig? Well, I just find it fascinating. There's a guy in the state of Montana that started 20 games, none of which are during his senior year, none of which will be on Saturday during his senior day, and he didn't transfer. He's still a captain of the team. I just think it's a testament to there is still a place for guys that just want to be a part of an organization that's successful. So we'll hear from Tucker Rovig as well. In the meantime, have yourself a wonderful Thursday night. We'll be back at it at 4 p.m. tomorrow. ESPN Radio. It's Nuanez Now. We'll see you then.